Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with Rare Gem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to energize your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield, Director of Entrepreneur Development Services at the Center for Emerging Technologies.
And I am Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, the Director for Bioscience and Entrepreneurial Inclusion with BioSTL.
As you know, this podcast is all about stepping outside of your comfort zone, and we encourage you to think about your opportunities and your business goals in new ways. We want to peel away any of the limitations you might have about how you think about small business, working for yourself, or being entrepreneurial right where you are. You can stay connected to the Entrepreneurially Thinking community on all of your favorite streaming platforms. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or by visiting entrepreneuriallythinking.com and following the hashtag #ethinkstl.
If you are a sports fan or someone interested in building a sports-focused organization, you are in for a treat. We'll be speaking with Charlie Wallace, a serial entrepreneur whose product helps basketball players improve their shot. My son will love this.
If I had had this as a child, perhaps I would be more inclined for that athletic type stuff.
Exactly. The product, it's called the Qube Basketball Trainer System. It's a patent-pending product and system that touts immediate results. Their slogan, the Qube, reshaping the way the world shoots a basketball one player at a time. We're going to find out how this is possible.
Well, yes.
This is going to be a really interesting conversation. So stay listening. We'll be right back.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
What do the most successful people do every day before 8 a.m.? Well, rise and shine. Love it or hate it, utilizing the morning hours before work may be the key to a successful and healthy lifestyle. That's right. Early rising is a common trait found in many CEOs, government officials, and other influential people. Margaret Thatcher was up every day at 5 a.m. And Robert Iger, the CEO of Disney since 2000, wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every morning. Here are 5 other things you must do. Number 1, exercise. Every morning, at least 30 minutes a day. Number 2, map out your day. Set your goals and priorities for the day. Number 3, eat a healthy breakfast and all meals when possible. Number 4, visualize the day. Meditation, prayer, or quiet time. And number 5, make your day top-heavy. Put most of your workload at the beginning of your day when you're the freshest. Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at keithsalespro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
I'm Charlie Wallace with Qube Basketball. And the great thing about being an entrepreneur is to be able to have a product that you feel strongly and passionately about and be able to provide it to your customer base in a way that helps them and everybody benefits. And also as an entrepreneur, the other great thing about it is you're able to some extent, control your own destiny. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing what I do.
Charlie, thank you so much for joining us today, particularly because you have made a special trip here just to talk with us. And so we are quite honored to have you with us today.
Well, I am very happy to be here today.
Thank you for making the trip. We were just talking about we're going to have to do a road show to Louisville. Because that's where Charlie hails from.
But originally from St. Louis, is that correct?
Well, originally from Louisville.
Okay.
And then moved to St. Louis, was here for about 25 years.
Almost a St. Louisan.
Almost a St. Louisan. Nobody ever asked me where I went to high school.
Oh, dang.
I mean, if it had been here one more year, I think I would have got that.
And you could have answered, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm glad to be back. I love St. Louis. We sure miss it.
Wow.
Fantastic. Well, can you tell us a little bit about, like we've mentioned Qube, and it's going to revolutionize how we play basketball, and just tell us a little bit more about yourself. You're a serial entrepreneur, which means this is not your first go-round.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about you, and then share with us more about Qube.
Well, I moved to St. Louis and was in sales with a company called Head Racket Sports, and then was with That was the tennis, racquetball, squash industry, and then got involved with Cybex, which is a big fitness company. And through those experiences, I ultimately opened up my own fitness facility, which was called Magna Fitness Center over on 40 in Brentwood there.
Yeah.
Great place. I mean, we got really lucky. It was a 25 to 30-year-old and older, mature professional crowd. Just a great place, great equipment.
Very cool.
Turned out really well. And then was also the strength coach for St. Louis University's basketball program, and then ultimately moved back to Louisville in 06-07 and got involved with a big basketball operation over there called the Basketball Academy. Lots of basketball, lots of volleyball, and high school, college, professional players that would come in. And then, just as within the last year and a half, I've been involved with my own product. It's an invention called the Qube.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you go from sort of those more service-oriented, I guess, place-based kind of things to a product? Because that is actually a pretty big leap.
Yeah, it's a big change. Well, I think part of it was with all the players that we would have come in the basketball academy, we're always looking at their shot and, look at this kid, that kid. And my business partner and I were big shooters. I mean, we really enjoyed basketball, played a lot. He played through college. Even though I was a football, baseball guy, I played a lot of basketball through the years and always enjoyed shooting. So it was something that I really was fond of and studied a bunch. One day I had some, we were watching a game and just happened to look up at a player shooting and kind of position my hands like this.
On the
kind
ball.
of like an L on the ball, folks.
Right.
And
But-
this is from a not sports inclined woman, but I think I'm
Kristen, no,
mimicking
you're
it
dead
pretty
on.
well.
That's exactly. That's cube formation right there.
Cube formation.
Perfect.
It is an
That's
L
the
on the
cube
ball.
set point right there.
It's a 90-degree angle for folks who are.
We will take some sort of photograph and add it when we when we
Where's
post
the,
the
let me put the cube at the camera real quick.
Right.
But the thing that happened was instead of seeing a round ball, I saw a square. I saw a cube. That's how it happened.
Right.
It was that simple. So I went to the hardware store, got some foam, taped it up, and thought, this actually makes sense in terms of teaching kids how to shoot. So at that point, it's kind of like any invention. It's, find a problem, solve a problem.
There you go.
And the problem was for us, it was that we had so many kids, it seemed like shooting had just become a lost skill.
Right.
And a lot of kids are self-taught. Sometimes that's good and sometimes that's not. So what the Qube does is it teaches a player,
Proper technique.
Proper hand positioning, elbow, wrist alignment, and how to shoot properly. And basketball is a lot more fun when you can shoot it.
And I think what's very interesting what you talk about, because I have a 14-year-old. We've invested a lot of time and money since he was basically 3 years old and playing basketball. So he's gone to the sports camps. And I think what you touched on is the fundamentals, because a lot of times people are not teaching, number one, the fundamentals in the sport itself. But then from a shooting standpoint, you're right. You can see a kid out there. Each kid is shooting very, very differently.
Right.
So being able to put some type of standardization around it, or what you found to be something that brings the shot down to a standard of how you hold your hands and how the form. I mean, that's amazing.
I'm going to write that word down, standardization, because even though...
And I'm charging you like $1,000 for it.
Awesome. Branding is happening right now. There's intellectual property being created.
I'm going to put that on the website, even though there isn't any standardization for shots, or maybe there should be. But the thing that we find is that if I talk to 10 different experts on what the best way to shoot is, I'm going to get 10 different expert opinions.
Right.
For sure. What the Qube does is it helps players in two ways. It helps them physically with the hand positioning and the elbow wrist alignment,
right,
and without getting too complicated, where the ball should be in the shot plane. But conceptually, it does something as well. It teaches them that the most important thing about shooting a basketball is that the ball has to go perfectly straight. Now, if you think about that for a second, if I'm shooting and I'm consistently missing left and right, my shot's flawed, and I need to change my shot.
Right.
So what the Qube does is it teaches you the most important thing is you have to shoot it straight, and you have to have proper arc. The more arc you have, the larger the target becomes, and it optimizes your chances of making that shot. So as I position...
The Qube is a cube, folks.
Yes.
It is not a round ball.
By positioning my hands and elbow wrist properly and going, we kind of call it going up the elevator here.
Yep.
it can actually teach a kid real easy. Boys and girls, high school, college, and pro players. It's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like a baseball tee. When we got little kids that are 5 years old, we put them on a baseball tee and teach them. But if you go over to Cardinal Stadium tonight and go underneath and you go into the hitting cages, they got batting tees.
Wow.
So it's form, technique, and it's just it's that muscle memory. It's that consistency. It's that standardization.
It's that standardization and consistency.
And I have absolutely no idea which player it was, but I heard a story once about a pro player who realized he could do a free throw consistently if he did it underhand. Yeah. But no one would do it because it wasn't the standard and it quote unquote looked funny.
You're right, Christy. That's Rick Barry, a guy named Rick Barry.
Thank you. I mean, I was he was like, every single time you can do it perfect. Yep. And yet the biggest players in the game wouldn't do it because of how it looked. Yeah. Now the cube is a cube. It's not a round ball. Yeah. What's the reaction you get when you bring this on the court?
Yeah. One of the things is people kind of go, well, why didn't you just use a ball? I mean, but really the reason that we didn't use the ball is because the cube's unique design forces you to do.
It's the right thing.
It is the right thing. It forces you to have 5 fingers under the ball or under, in this case, the cube. It forces your elbow to be underneath the cube because, look, if my elbow is out, look how the cube is no longer level. The front edge of the cube.
Everything goes on an angle.
The front edge of the cube has to be level. So when it is, and you have this guide hand here, what the guide hand has a job. I call it the guide hand. You can call it the stabilization hand. But its job is to stabilize the ball or the cube in my shooting hand. Yep. The more movement, the less accuracy.
Your shot's going to be off.
Right.
So it's all about angles.
So once people realize what it's doing for them, are they cool with it?
Oh, they love it. Yeah, okay. No, they absolutely love it. It's been the response and the results. Now the empirical data begins to come in now. And what I mean by that is we've got teams and players throughout the country. It's funny. It hasn't been a year. And
since you developed it?
Since we started selling it.
Okay.
So we started selling it on a small Twitter account. Things have changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But
I got to get on Snapchat, apparently.
Yeah. We're still, my youngest son's really good at that stuff. Yes. And Snapchat, I hadn't quite figured out yet. But
it's not meant for us to figure out. We're still Facebook.
Well, Twitter account. Okay, it started on
I know
Twitter
what I'm getting there.
Right.
But, the thing about it, what's cool about it is that we have sold it internationally in 7 different countries, including, Japan, the Dominican Republic, the German wheelchair national team just bought 5 the other day.
Wow,
How cool is that? Australia,
awesome.
Canada. We have loads of cubes in Canada right now.
Wow.
Spain. And then we have it in 40 states here in the U.S. And it's all off of a Twitter account, our camps, our clinics, our website. And then we've done, things like this. We've had some TV features, here in town, actually. Channel 5 did a nice feature on us, and that was pretty cool. It worked really well. It's kind of funny because when they ran it, it was the night of the national championship game, the football game.
Okay.
So we didn't think anybody was going to be watching. Everybody's watching the football game. It's a great game. And we flipped away, went over, got on the computer, and kind of live streamed it from Louisville. And as soon as that feature was over, the web just started dinging.
Wow.
It was ding,
nice.
Ding. Oh, yeah. So we had a great response.
You guys, on your website, you tout immediate results with folks learning the system. And it's patent pending, which is, I think, also something very unique in the sport, for a system to teach you how to play basketball.
Yeah. The great thing about the patent pending is, obviously you've never seen a cube. The whole idea that you have a cube teaching somebody how to shoot a round, square cube, round basketball just doesn't, it's counterintuitive. But because of that, we've been able to get a patent pending on our utility and design features. And then the other thing, what I was mentioning earlier, is the empirical data begins to come in, and we're seeing teams and players from around the country that are using it successfully. I had a coach. We have it, one of the teams over in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a big powerhouse, Ballard High School out of Louisville. And their coaches all year would tell me, listen, Charlie, this thing is really helping, and here's how. It's not always indicative of our free throw shooting percentage, but we've taken a kid who's a 50% shooter and turned him into a 70% shooter from the free throw line, and a 65% shooter and turned him into an 85% free throw shooter. So those are the differences between winning and losing games, and it's excited a lot of people. Here in town, St. Mary's had a successful season. They've used the Qube. Kelvin Lee, terrific coach over there, does a great job. And we have several Qubes throughout we have a lot of Qubes in the St. Louis area now.
That's
we have a lot of them. So it's really going good. We've had a blast.
That's great. So what have been some of the challenges as you've tried to build the product, the company?
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face?
Well,
how did you overcome them?
Right. One of the big challenges is that we manufacture the product in North Carolina. So I'm not able to get over there every day and, check on the status of the orders and make
it's
sure.
A challenge. A lot of different industries that are product-based find that challenge as well.
It's a proprietary foam. It's very dense, and the weight is very similar to that of a basketball. The diameter is the same as a basketball. So I could have found less expensive or a simpler way of making it. But this is what works best.
And it's working.
So the other thing, one of the other challenges, though, is that when they make these, they'll send me the order. But I'll take each cube and I got a power sander and we'll sand them down and just kind of rough them up a little bit.
Sort of the cleaning.
Yeah, kind of a cleaning and just
the
kind
final
of making
touches onto it, right?
Yeah, making it a little less slick, and so it just kind of, you feel that nice texture there.
Well, I love the fact, you guys can't see this cube, but one is black foam, but the other one has the leather of a basketball.
Yes.
That's also attached to the cube.
So the feel and, like you said, the density as well as the shape. It's not that you're just learning it the right way. You're learning it on something that's essentially
very similar,
the stand-in that you need.
Yes.
Right.
And it teaches you that muscle memory that is so important. When you transfer your muscle memory to a real basketball, it's just immediate. I've had kids. I had a coach in Jacksonville, Florida, tell me one of the kids came up with his dad, saw the cube, what's this, put it in his hands, and just went, oh.
Now I get it.
Now that's how you're supposed to shoot. The light bulb came on, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going to ask you more about muscle memory in just a moment when we come back.
Okay.
We all have stress in our lives, and not all stress is bad. But when we live with high levels of stress called toxic stress, we're not achieving our greatest potential. Do you know when stress is too much? Do you know when it's unhealthy? Do you know when you could use some support to manage stress and overcome the difficult things that may happen to you? Well, take 5 to find out how you respond to stress. Take the time to care for yourself and thrive, because when you feel better, you'll do better. You'll see. Visit AliveAndWellSTL.com to learn more.
My name is Tim Hayden. I'm the co-founder of Stadia Ventures. Thinking entrepreneurially to me is just to be different, be completely outside of the box, but be able to still understand that you have to solve a pain in order to actually get something done.
So, Charlie, just like a player has muscle memory for the shots he or she is always taking, I would like to make a corollary between that and entrepreneurs having muscle memory in terms of the different environments they're in. I know I just got the sassy look from Miss Cheryl, so I'm onto something.
I like that.
Well, you told me the questions were going to be really easy.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Right.
So, as a serial entrepreneur, what are those things that, even though it's a different industry, it's similar, but it's different. It's not a service, it's a product. What are those things that you're finding over and over again are the fundamentals of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think one of the things is never sacrificing quality and performance for price. So with my fitness centers, when I was in sales with Cybex or had Racket Sports, it was always really important to make sure that we never sacrificed quality and performance for the price. My fitness center might not have been the least expensive club in town. Great equipment, immaculately clean. We were nice to people. We had a fun environment, and it was really, we kind of designed it for that 25 to 30-year-old and older mature professional crowd. And it's the same with the Qube. There's other ways to make a less expensive product that wouldn't perform as well. But, we bevel the edges. We have a dense foam that goes through the basket easy. So those same things that you kind of learn, early on in my sales career and with my other business with Magna, I was able to transfer to this business as well, and it's been great.
And I think what's very interesting is you've been in the sports area for most of your career, so leveraging your contacts, leveraging and understanding that there was a need, because basketball was a hobby for you, or you know, it was a pastime, you enjoyed it, but understanding the need of looking at kids' shots and saying, how can we make this so that this is easier, but it's a little bit more simplified. And effective. So when kids get up to that free throw line, or professionals, like you said, hey, now they have a consistency with the shot.
Cheryl is exactly right. And it is trying to make it easier. It's trying to take, you see so many shots. And if you've been around basketball long enough, you will see all sorts of shots. And you'll see hand placement all over the ball, and you'll see the ball behind the head, off the shoulder. And so what we really did look at a lot was, really and truly, a basketball shot is not that difficult. I mean, the fewer moving parts, the better. Right. So the Qube just kind of came in there.
But it came from a need. And I think that's what we always talk about for entrepreneurs. Yeah. You don't make something because you like it. It's making something because there's a need in the market and validating that need in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things, I think, when I had my first prototype, there's a buddy of mine that played in the NBA, and he's over in Louisville, and I thought, we're going to meet, we're going to talk about it, and I thought, he might like it, he might not.
Right.
But we didn't know each other so well that he couldn't just get up and leave. I mean, it was one of those, so
safe?
It's like, hey, Charlie, nice idea, I got to go.
Yeah. Right. Testing the water.
But, we talked about it, and here's the funny thing about any Qube meeting I've ever had has never lasted less than an hour. I mean, hey, let's meet for 10 minutes and talk about the Qube.
Right.
Well, an hour and a half later, we're still talking about it, and I go, well, what do you think? And he goes, I love it. He says, it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and even pros. Yeah. It's international. How can I help? Wow. And I go, I'd like to get on Shark Tank. And he goes, well, I got Mark Cuban's number right here.
Oh, my God.
Now, we didn't do it. This was early on. It was just a prototype. But now I'm at that point where I'd love to do something like that. We're getting pretty close to it.
That is fantastic.
So does that mean that, where you are in the development of the company, it's now about getting some investors so that you can scale? Or is it just the thrill of being on the Shark Tank and being able to prove that you can close the deal?
I think it's the thrill of having an idea and seeing it through. And seeing it all the way to the end user and seeing that end user benefit, and knowing that, right now I'm selling just as many of these as I want to sell.
Right.
I don't, we're growing it, and the manufacturer is able to stay up with what we're selling, with our orders.
And I think what's interesting is when you talk about Shark Tank, when people go on there, it traditionally is looking at how can I take my company that's probably already doing revenue like you're doing and scaling it very, very quickly through the contacts of the individuals that are on Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that's for people who are looking for investors, we always say understand why you're looking for those investors and what value they're going to bring to you. Exactly. So if you're trying to get into, the retail space and, closing those deals that, might through Amazon, or I don't even think, is Sports Authority still around? I think they all closed down.
Oh, well, the equivalent.
But all the other types of stores and the retail channel, that's the opportunity, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, 20 years ago, Cheryl, we couldn't have done what we're doing today. I mean, I would have had
no Twitter.
Right. I mean, where would I be? I'd be trying to knock on doors and trying to get it into the box stores. And it's no coincidence that it's named the Qube. Cuban, Qube.
There you go.
Okay,
I'm teasing.
Now you got his interest.
No, but really, here's the thing. The thing that we are very much into the e-commerce part of it.
Yes.
And the idea that we're able to sell it, through our website. And
social media is how I think a lot of small companies get their footing.
Yeah.
So
you kind of get that feel. And here's the other thing. We're going on a year in just a few weeks of selling this. But you know how many returns we've had?
How many?
0.
Oh,
now, where's the wood? Let me
knocking on everything. I'm banging on my head and otherwise.
The response has been terrific. And that was one of the other things, too. Am I going to put this thing out in the market and then immediately start getting them back?
Right.
Are they going to fall apart?
Are people going to say,
garage? Yeah, I hate this thing. But, the thing that's so cool about it is that it's hard to hate because what the Qube does is undeniable. about shooting a basketball.
Well, it's providing results. I mean, when I read your website, when I went on the website, and I'm like, when you can put on the website immediate results, I'm like,
you're onto something good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a patent pending design, which provides so much value to your company and your product.
Yeah.
So anytime folks out there that you can get a patent on your technology, it certainly increases the value of your company.
You know, and that's so important. And that's something, too, that, you know, so far, one of the great things is somebody said the other day, you know, gosh, I bet the patents cost a lot. And I said, well, you know, I mean, this is a little more, it's a little more sophisticated than a toothpick. So it's not really, you know, it's not that tough. But, you know, the Qube sales have paid for the patents.
I was going to say, it's an investment that has certainly paid off.
And those are the things you have to do when you're really committed, like you said, to seeing it through, right?
Yeah.
You would never know whether or not you're going to be able to take it all the way, whatever that means for you.
No, you're right.
If you didn't make investments in that area. What I'm intrigued, though, too, by is that you're an entrepreneur in the Midwest. Here in St. Louis, there in Louisville. Anything special about that experience? Because we often have entrepreneurs who are like, we got to go to the coast. We got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, the big markets.
Right.
I don't know. You know, you guys can probably tell me a little more about that. You know, social media has changed all those boundaries, haven't they?
I
mean, to that extent, you can live anywhere you want and get on that Twitter account and still find that person over in Spain or California or Texas, and that's what's happened. You know, what's kind of cool, just real quick stories. One of the first Qubes I ever sold was down small town in Texas. I can't really remember. I think it was Georgetown, Texas.
Texas is a big old sports.
Big sports.
Yes.
And
smaller the
big
town,
sports.
bigger the fans,
There
right?
you go.
Yeah. But, you know, it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes outside of Austin, I believe, is this little town. 2 weeks later, another Qube was sold down in that area. Not the same town, but a town next to it. And then 2 weeks later, another one, and then another one, and they're all tiny little towns outside of a major city. But the word of mouth spread really quick.
Talk.
Yeah.
And especially in small towns, people talk.
And results matter.
And results matter. That's exactly right. And that's been what's been so gratifying about it, is to know that, look, it's not that expensive, but you get it. It's a nice investment for look, you know, most parents, I don't know how to shoot. And, you know, a lot of coaches will admit.
Well, a lot of parents think they know how to shoot.
Yeah, right, yeah. But
sidelines.
This does put kids in a position where they learn, and it makes it easier for coaches.
So it's not just the Qube, but you have a video system or something. So if somebody buys this, they're not just standing out there holding the Qube in their hand.
And still screwing up?
We have the Qube Basketball channel on YouTube. We also have our website, which is QubeBasketball.com. But, you know, there's another interesting development over the last couple of weeks. There's a new app that we have been talking with. And I can't really go into a whole lot of detail about the app, but it's one of those apps. Something coming up new.
So they need to stay tuned to your website.
And I'm going to tell you the name of the app is Up My Game is the name of the app.
I like that.
For people out there, it's all sports, and but what you do is you take a video and you put it on, and you can get coached, and it's really just
awesome.
It's like golf.
It's like golf or swimming or tennis or
when people can watch your stroke.
You can watch your swing and stroke and improve. And so we're kind of we're in those I guess conversations now about teaming up and doing something. I'm excited about those guys, and so the opportunities that are being presented now are just growing all the time.
And this is only a year.
Crazy.
This is only a year with you out in the market, and now you've reached international.
I'm an international
customers.
businessman.
You are.
I mean, when I came in here, you guys thought, who is this guy? Yeah, I'm an international.
24 karat.
I'm teasing.
Does have the whole well-cut cube shape going.
Oh, boy.
Mount that sucker in a nice setting.
Gosh,
we're
you guys
to go,
are
right?
y'all are great for the ego. I'm telling you. I come here more often.
Anytime you need us, you just let us know.
There you go. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal.
And so as a serial entrepreneur, this is probably not going to be your last venture. He's a young man.
Yes.
Do you foresee yourself keeping your eyes open for those next opportunities?
Yeah. I think with this is one of those that they're right now in the pipeline. We have so many things that we're looking at.
Who is we?
Well,
because I talk like that. We,
yeah,
and it's
I use
me.
we a lot.
So
it's pretty much me, but I've got some people back in Louisville. I mean, Jennifer and Rex and Christian, and there's a handful of other folks that really help out a lot, and really.
So you do have a
kind of
team.
keep me grounded. Yeah.
Okay.
And then not only but the coaches. There's a lot of coaches locally here that have been terrific. I mean, Kelvin Lee is just a fantastic guy, fantastic coach, and he's been a great source. And Erwin Claggett, Corey Frazier. I mean, just on and on here in this area.
Yeah, my son was part of WITS when Corey was over there. Now I know he's with Pure Sweat.
Yes.
Yeah. So we know all of the circuit here.
Yeah, it's a great area for basketball.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
We just need to bring a franchise team here.
Oh, goodness.
To St. Louis, okay?
Oh, goodness. That's a whole nother show.
I know.
I'm excited to see that. I think, I still love St. Louis University, and I hope Travis does a great job. And Corey Tate's a good friend. Yep. He's one of the assistants over there. And I sure am looking forward to seeing how they do in the next few years, too.
Well, we are so excited, man. This is some great...
We need to keep tabs on you, and our listeners need to know where to find you. So where can they learn more about the Qube?
Our website, and that's Qube Basketball, Qube. It is... Sometimes people hear that Qube. It's not a Cube, it's a Qube, but Qube, basketball.com is our website. And then we have Twitter accounts, and, I'm sure Qube Basketball, but we've got several different Twitter accounts, and then we've got our YouTube channel as well.
Well,
fantastic.
I was going to say, I know we've taken a picture of the Qube when we get ready to launch the podcast. Maybe we can put a picture.
We'll be sharing, because you got to see it to appreciate everything we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we are so happy that you dropped into St. Louis, or dropped back into St. Louis.
Yeah, really. Thank you for making the trip and for sharing your story and your product with us.
Do I have to leave?
You don't. We can't keep you necessarily on the air, so to speak, but you don't have to leave. We've got plenty of space
hanging out with you.
We got plenty of space, right?
Absolutely.
I've had a blast. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you all giving me the opportunity. I really do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's entrepreneurially thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #eThinkSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.